Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, so I got some good news today about my father. He's doing much better. I know I mentioned the other day that he had like some issues with his back, but there were some other issues too they were working with, and they were looking at the potential that maybe he has some issues with his liver. And so they've given him a blood transfusion, and he's feeling a lot better and a lot more perky and upbeat. And they're going to run like a camera down his throat and try and figure out what's going on there to deal with some of the other issues. I'm not going to go into details on that. Trust me, you don't want to know. But he's doing better. He's sounding better, and I think we're getting to the point where he's on the mend. Maybe he'll be able to come home in a day or two. So that's good news. So there's other good news as well. He is finally kind of coming to terms with the fact that he can't quite do all of the things he used to do, and he's finally conceded that maybe he shouldn't be doing like mowing the lawn and stuff like that anymore with a bad back. So he's accepted the fact that we need to hire a gardener to do the yard stuff around here, which is really good news. It turns out very close friends of ours and neighbors have a gardener that they're very, very happy with, and my parents have always really admired the work that he does for them. So my parents are going to hire him to come over and do gardening for them as well. So he came over today, kind of looked at the situation, and my mom has approved him to kind of do it, and he actually did kind of a general yard work thing today, and I guess is coming back later to do some more stuff. So when we talked to my father about all this, he pointed out that there was an area in the yard right here where the sprinkler valves are, where specifically there's a lot of moisture accumulating there. Now his initial thought was that perhaps there's just a leak in the plumbing on the supply end of the valves for the sprinklers, and he wanted us to kind of dig that up and look at that. And I looked at it a little bit last night, and I saw the muddy spot he was talking about. But when I looked at it again today, it kind of became clear to me that maybe the problem isn't on the plumbing itself, but that a couple of these valves have gone bad. This one specifically, and this one over here. And when we were looking at it with the gardener, who says he's going to dig this up and replace it all, he agreed with me that it's probably just time to replace these valves. So I went out and bought some new valves at Home Depot for that. The gardener's supposed to come back on Sunday and do that, but I don't know, if I get bored, I may just dig this up and do it myself. But anyway, it's a good news that he's that my father is kind of accepting the fact that stuff like this maybe he shouldn't be doing anymore. So we're going to get this going, and we'll see what happens. So our friend John Yarbrough, the guy who designed the Texas Storage Massacre t-shirt that I showed you a few days ago, just sent me some new ideas for the opening screen. You saw one of them on the opening screen today. I'm going to show you the rest of them right here and right now. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. He does some fantastic work. By the way, I'm fooling you. I'm not really standing in front of a lake. That's a painting in front of my bed. Ha, psych. So basically they're very, very similar. This is the one I used on today's video with you. And then he gave me just different backgrounds and stuff like that I can use. I like all of these, So the beauty is, I can switch between them and use different ones as I see fit, as the mood strikes me. Very cool. It's really neat to have someone that talented that can do this kind of stuff. Because, I'm decent with Photoshop, but this is beyond my ability. So thank you so much, John. That's a really fantastic work you did. He also gave me a version of this without the cowboy hat on Mickey, and I may use that sometimes too, but I really like the cowboy hat, and it just kind of hits the whole theme, so great job. Okay, this just made me laugh because I kind of know the story behind it. It turns out the neighbors next door to my parents have a large golden retriever that just kind of runs loose in their backyard. And apparently the dog has figured out how to get back up onto the cinder block fence, which in reality is about 4 inches wide, if that. And has gotten into several of the neighbors' backyards just by walking along the fence like a cat would. Apparently it's happened a couple times, and they've gone to extreme measures to prevent it from happening in the future. That just kind of makes me laugh. So there were some questions yesterday in the comments section about Flash. I assure you I do read them, but obviously can't comment on all of them. But a couple of the questions were about, how old she is and how big she is. It's really kind of hard to judge because people have seen these big giant tortoises that are like 500 years old and you can ride around on. They're so big. Obviously, she's not that big. She's from front to back, the shell, she's about 6 inches long. You've seen how fast she can move. And as to how old she is, I don't really know exactly, but I've had her for about 30 years. And a few years ago, what I did, I'm assuming that the little segments on her shell kind of work the same way as like the rings on a tree, where they grow every year. And at one point, I tried taking a really, really close photo of them, and like, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago, I counted like 50 rings. So she may be very well 60 or 70 years old. I don't know exactly. And it's very possible she might outlive me. Scary, huh? Might have to put her in my will. She's always been a good kind of low maintenance pet though, because as long as there's something for her to eat in the backyard, she'll just kind of take care of herself. And you don't even necessarily see her all the time. It took me like 5 minutes wandering around out here to even find her. She blends in so well with the rest of the yard. Of course, it doesn't help matters that there are fake turtles all over the yard. Any question whether this was the right place to leave her? So that's all I have for you today. So as usual, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.